Hi everyone, welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Thursday, October 9th, 2025, and this is episode 316. Had to look there. I'm Carol, also known as Knits and Pearls on Ravelry, and I live east of Vancouver in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada, where we are enjoying a beautiful fall day, the perfect mix of sun and cloud. I hope the weather is nice where you are, and I hope you're all doing well and that you've had a good couple of weeks since we last spoke. I'd like to thank everyone for all your kind comments about my last episode, particularly about the interview I had with my mom about her knitting experience. So hi Mom, I hope you're watching again, and thanks again for sitting down with me. So I didn't think I had that much to talk about till I started writing show notes, and Cameron's going to be home for lunch in about an hour. So I'm going to hopefully try and knock this out before then. Before I show you what I've been working on, I just want to remind you there is a make-along taking place in the Ravelry group called Stash Spectacular. It is a year-long chatter thread in which we show what we've been working on with our yarn pattern and fiber stash. So you can jump in anytime and hope to see you there. So I have a finished project today. I did not foresee this the last time I talked to you, but I have finished my pressed flowers cardigan by Amy Christophers of Savory Knitting. I used, for my main color, some yarn from Bendigo Wool Mills called Spring Fling in the Belladonna colorway. So it's a navy here. And that's a wool mohair blend. And then for the flowers, I used some hand spun. It was the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Holiday Countdown collection from 2024. Which was called The Mystery of Color. And I spun the yarn in such a way that it would be a gradient. I ended up with 3 balls of it, and I started from the end of one ball and worked my way up into the second, and then continued on the sleeves. And I ended up using, I think, about maybe a third or a quarter of the third ball. So about two and a quarter, 2 1/3 balls all together. In order to keep the color progression the same on the front and back, I did a steek in the sleeve area. And so I added some extra stitches, and I just knit round and round. And then once it was done and I had picked up the sleeve stitches and knit for a little while, I cut the yarn, and you can see that's the steek stitches there. So it's a little bit bulkier than it would normally be, but it's nothing that's really noticeable, especially when you're wearing it. And I just think it turned out really well. And as for the sleeves, because I really wanted it to be matchy-matchy, what I did is as I knit this portion, I kind of wound off some of the yarn, and because it was feltable, I was able to just kind of divide. I don't know if you can hear that. That's the fridge water running to make more ice. As I worked on the sleeves, I would roll off a certain amount of yarn, divide these little color sections in half, felt them back together, and then just carry on. And I was able to end up with 2 very matchy sleeves. So I was a little worried, I will confess. Oh, but there's the buttons. I modified it by making it a bit longer. I kind of modeled the sweater after my Jethro cardigan. Whoops, let's see if I can get the light here. kind of boring buttons. There we go. Kind of boring buttons, but the ones I really wanted, they didn't have enough in the fabric store, and I didn't feel like driving half an hour to go get 2 buttons. And I didn't want something that was going to take away from the flowers, so it basically they kind of just blend in with the navy, and that's fine. I was a little worried, so my swatch ended up closer engaged to the pullover version of the sweater than the cardigan version, but I purchased the cardigan anyway, and I just I knit the first size but at a larger gauge. So I used the numbers from the first size, but I knit my fabric at a larger gauge in order to obtain a larger size. And I will confess that before I blocked it, I really thought it was going to be too small, but it blocked out just perfectly. And yeah, it could not be a more perfect size. So I did record a short video with showing me wearing this. It's way too warm to put it on right now. I had it on briefly and then had to take it off. So I will insert that here now so you can see how it looks on me. So here's a good look at the Pressed Flowers cardigan on me. I'm super happy with how this turned out. It fits perfectly. I love the color work. I like that it's colorful but not too gaudy. And yeah, I just am 100% happy with this project. After I finished the Pressed Flowers cardigan, I picked up another sweater that I'd been working on, or rather not been working on. I cast it on back in January, and I don't think I had worked on it anytime after February. I think what happened is it got put away during the move, and then it just never seemed like the right time to pick it back up again, until now. So it is called Sparkle by Kirsten Michelle, and it is a top-down circular yoke sweater, as you can see, with a chevron colorwork design. So I specifically wanted to find a sweater with a chevron colorwork design for this fiber that I had received from Lisa of Fiber Nymph Dye Works. It was a 7 bump spinning set of BFL dyed in a legacy colorway, and the colorway was inspired by a blanket that Lisa's grandmother had made in a chevron pattern, and I really wanted to honor that. So not only did I have the fiber, I also had the yarn in the bounce base, and I had knit these socks again with a chevron design. My plan was to finish these both up at the same time, but I got tired of seeing these on the needles and finally finished them a few months ago. But that gives you an idea of the colorways. Now they did knit, or dye up a bit differently on the BFL base. I'll just pick out a few here to show you. That's not all of them. So I had spun this fiber and then chain plied it with varying degrees of success. This one turned out really well and very consistent. Woo, last one. This one, not so much. But I decided to use them anyway. And here is how they knit up in the yoke. I'm pretty sure I've shown this on the podcast before, because when I picked this back up, I was on the first sleeve. So I did alter the chart a bit to make it fit my colors, but other than that, I'm following the pattern as far as sizing and instructions and everything. So since I picked it up not that long ago, I have completed one sleeve. And then yesterday I picked up stitches and have started my second sleeve. And then I will complete the body when that's done. I wanted to make sure it fit really well. Quite often I find well, for one thing, I wanted to get to the sleeves because that's the fun part. But I also feel like when you have the sleeves on a garment, you can determine your finished length for your body a lot better because the sweater is sitting right, not to mention your correct length for your sleeves. So I was a bit concerned because my color work is a little bit lumpy bumpy because, well, for one thing, the yarn is lumpy bumpy, but also I was using magic loop, and sometimes I remember to kind of move the beginning of round around so that I don't end up with a really distinct line where the two needles join. This time I didn't do that, but once I put the sweater on, I realized that it was going to be fine. It stretches out enough that it's not a problem. So what I ended up doing, how the pattern works is you decrease your sleeves, then you work your chart, and then you decrease rapidly the remaining amount of stitches before your cuff. And because in this yoke you begin and you increase outwards, you can see like the first chevron is different than the last chevron as far as the number of rows and such. So I thought that I would just take that and kind of do that in reverse. And so I used this chart as a guideline, and I decreased twice during the patterning and just adjusted my chevrons accordingly. So I did end up with four extra stitches in the end than was supposed to be for my size, but it's fine. I didn't bother. I was going to decrease them, and then I realized I really didn't have to. And they fit really well. So I did do what's it called? Invisible sewn bind off or something like that. It's also called a Kitchener bind off. I think it's basically just a tubular bind off. I've done it on a number of sweaters and I really like the finish. I did that also on the Pressed Flowers cardigan. And then what I do for my cast on, instead of doing a tubular cast on, which I find really, really finicky, I do an alternating cable cast on, and that gives much the same look and is a whole lot easier. So super happy to be working on this again, and look forward to finishing up to be able to wear it this fall and winter. Probably more like winter by the time I finish it, but that's okay. It's too warm now anyway. So here is Sparkle, or what I'm calling a legacy pullover. Obviously a work in progress, but I wanted you to see how it looked so far. I'm loving how this is knitting up. It's going to fit really well, I can tell. And initially I wasn't happy with my color work on the sleeve. It seemed kind of lumpy bumpy, especially along here where I was doing magic loop, and this is where the join of the needles was. And I thought I was going to have to rip it out and do it over again. But once I've tried it on, it has stretched out the color work, and I think it's going to block out fine. I mean, it's lumpy bumpy anyway because of my uneven spinning. But yeah, I know it's getting blown out a little bit here, but yeah, like just super happy with it and cannot wait to get this done in time to wear this winter. I also have one more work in progress. I showed you the beginnings of these socks last episode. I'm calling them more Norwegian socks. It is an Arna and Carlos Lofoten colorway from Regia, and I can feel fiber on my mouth there. So it looks like this before it's knit, and it looks looks like this after it's knit. This is a colorway 3884, which is Leckness. And then I did the heels with some West Yorkshire Spinners yarn in colorway 530 Pennyroyal. I thought it picked up that purple line in there quite well. Show it to you from the side. Actually, I've got a sock blocker right over here I'm going to grab. There we go. So it's just my usual 64 stitch top down sock, 2x2 ribbing, traditional heel flap and gusset, and it will have a rounded toe. So I do have this one ready for the toe, and then I've been working on the second sock. It's on the gusset decreases currently, and then once I get to the same length as this one, I will do the toes on both. So enjoying this for my, when I need plain knitting to do. I just realized as I was glancing at my notes to tell you the colorways for that, I forgot to tell you that for the body of the sweater, I am using Cascade 220 Sport in the Jet colorway, which is 4002. And I did not have enough of this in my stash, so I ordered more. And when it came, I realized it's slightly different colors. I mean, you can't tell maybe on the camera, but I am alternating skeins to blend the two so that there isn't an obvious line from where I, end with the old color and pick up with the new. So, and that's working out well, except I hate alternating skeins. I don't enjoy the process, but I really do think it's the way to go when you're using hand-dyed yarns especially, but even in this case, yarns from different dye lots. I have been spinning for what seems like forever. I showed this fiber to you last week. This is from Longway Homestead, and this is the Breed of the Month Club, and that's my very first shipment of that. This is Targhee wool. So this is a third of what I received. I have spun up a third so far on my electric eel e-spinner. It's spinning up really fine. I think I'm going to end up with a 3-ply fingering weight. I am almost finished the second bobbin, and then I will do this one. But it's taken me a lot of hours to get where I'm at. Had this the spinner set up in our spare room. Been watching TV and spinning, and it's just seems to be taking forever. But the fiber itself is really nice and soft. My only complaint with it is it does have, actually you can see right there, I think it has a fair bit of vegetable matter in it. So these little bits of grass or sticks or hay. And so I'm constantly picking them out. I try and get as much out before I'm actually spinning that part as possible, but quite often as I'm spinning, I can either feel it on my fingers or I look down and there's some stuff coming up that I'll have to stop, pick it out, keep going. So that's the only downside, but it is farm wool and it's natural, it's not super processed. So this is the whole point, is to try my hand at spinning different types of wool. And so it's just part of the process. I think it's a good experience if I ever, I should never say never. I have no desire at this point in my life to buy a fleece and process it and spin it like a lot of people do. Hopefully, or not hopefully, this is what I expect will be like my closest experience of that, but it's a good thing to do, right? I just think it's as much as it's not that fun to have to keep picking that stuff out, I think it's a good experience to have, just to learn more about how, you know, raw fleeces to spin. I also did not expect to have cross stitch to show you this episode, but if you remember, well, I thought it was last fall, but actually it was 2 years ago that I finished a long-term project, which was a bell pull with an autumn theme. And years ago, when I worked at a yarn and needle workshop, I had purchased all the supplies for all 4 seasons in the series. And so after I finished the autumn one, I started summer, because I thought, well, that gives me lots of time to get summer done by the time summer rolls around. Well, here now 2 summers have passed, and I still have not finished. In fact, I probably haven't worked on this for about a year. But I picked it up again last night. I sat in my chair here with my light and the overhead light on, and I have some magnifying glasses. And I was able to cross stitch for hours, actually much later than I should have. I should have gone to bed long before I did. So I don't know how well you'll be able to see this. So all of the bell pulls have the name of the season and then designs that go alongside them, and then kind of a little quote or a little poem. They have kind of a religious tone to them, which I am changing some of the wording just to be more secular. But here, maybe I'll unwind, give you a refresher on what I've done. Oh, that's perfect. So whoops, got the table in front of me, I'm banging. So I had finished S a while ago, except for the lettering. And I'm now working on U. You can see my thread there. So I actually did quite a bit last night, filled in a bunch of the green. So this is all I want to work on today, but I do have this to do and jobs to do. So real life does take precedence, unfortunately, but I am anxious to get back to that again. Maybe again, tonight. Okay, moving on. I'm going to combine the next sections. I have Knit City to talk about a little bit, and then I'll show you what I got there. So Knit City was last weekend. Is it last weekend? Yes, last weekend in Vancouver. Ran, I think, Friday night for classes, I think. I'm not sure because I didn't go Friday night. My daughter-in-law Stephanie and I went on Saturday to the marketplace, and then the marketplace was also open Sunday, and somewhere in there were classes, I know for sure, on Saturday. Anyway, Steph picked me up about 8:30. I think doors opened at 9. We got down there about 9:30. By the time we got parking and stuff, it was close to 10 when we got in, and the first place I was headed was the bathroom. So as I came out of the washroom, I saw Nancy Wheeler from the Knit Sip Happy podcast. She was working with her friend Deb of Yarn Indulgences in Deb's booth. So that was really cool. So hi again, Nancy. It was good to see you. And then I was so happy. I had several people come up and introduce themselves, and also saw some people that I already knew. So hi again to Darlene and Vicky and Allison and Lynn and Jenny, and also my niece Katie, who I went to Norway with. She came with her friend later in the afternoon, and we had a little bit of a visit with her. So my goal for shopping this year was mostly fleece, particularly fiber. Not fleece, fiber. Well, I guess fiber is fleece. My goal was to mostly find some fiber that I could spin into socks. So stuff that had nylon or something else in it to give it that strength. I also was hoping to get the show colorway in fleece that Sweet Georgia had dyed up. And I also wanted to get a skein of the sock marl from, that's what it's called? Yeah, sock marl from Yarn Indulgences. And I met all those goals, and then also picked up a couple of other things. So let me grab them and show them to you. It was really busy on Saturday. It was hard to get into some booths, and my daughter-in-law was interested in something at Ancient Arts, so we ended up coming back later, which was fine. It was a little bit quieter then, but I know from experience that it slows down a bit in the afternoon on Saturday, and I know Sunday is even quieter. But we were there in the throng, which was also a fun experience. So one thing that Stephanie and I both bought was the skein of Gauge Dye Works. It was knit up and front and center in a big display. It's called Jack-o'-lantern, and this is the round trip striping sequence. So there are two sections that are the same, so you can make two matching socks. Stephanie also actually cast these on already, and she said there's actually four striping sequences. And so I will divide the yarn in half and then cast them on and knit them in tandem. And I also picked up the mini that was there with them. They think the sample had an orange heel, but I didn't see any orange minis. But this one is called Socktober 2025 Haunted Macaron. So that'll be perfect for those, perfect for heels. Maybe toes, who knows? Maybe toes too. And then I did get a skein of the sock marl. This is the Cliffside colorway. It's really, really hard to choose a colorway. There were so many nice ones. So my intention is to knit this up into either Lake Ontario socks or By the Shore socks, both by Nancy Wheeler, because they show off the ripple, the marled striping in here will look really nice with a ripply sock design. This yarn, there were a couple of samples there. There was the Lake Ontario socks, and then it's something about cones. I think it was a pattern that was originally designed for this for Knit City Montreal one year. Something of cones, Parade of Cones, I think. anyway, it does look great in a ripply pattern. So my thought is to do one of those patterns and knit these for my sister Jacqueline, who lives in Toronto, which is located on Lake Ontario. So I probably will knit those socks. And I just tried to find a colorway that was kind of reminiscent of water and cliffside, you know, the idea of looking down into the water. So that's the only yarn I got. The rest was fiber. So I snagged the last skein of the, or braid of the show colorway. And this is called Blooms and Grows. Oh, okay, I gotta show it to you out of the package. At least partway out of the package. There we go. So it's very bright and colorful. So that was lucky timing on my part because I did not get it as I walked in. I had walked around a little bit and said I want to get there before they sell out, and lucky me because all the yarn was gone and all this year's bags were gone, but those at least could be ordered. I don't think you could order the yarn or fiber. And then later in the Sweet Georgia booth, I picked up, and this I'm not opening, but I picked up, oh dear, this color and fiber play kit is what they call it. So there are 8 bumps of, I think it's BFL. Yeah, superwash, no, sorry, non-superwash blue-faced Leicester. So there's a black and a white, and then 6 colors, jewel tones. Oh, there, that's somewhat, oh, there you go, that's better, I think. Got the light on overhead plus the window across from me, so lots of light reflecting. But yeah, this is gonna be fun. Don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I think that'll be fun to spin up. And then I did get 3 braids to do for socks. So this is from Creation Miss Couture. It's actually got an accent on the E, so I'm not even gonna try my bad French accent. Creation, I did, didn't I? Anyway, that's what it's from. This is a superwash merino top, 80% merino and 20% nylon. Doesn't have a colorway name, but thought they were really pretty. And then from Chaotic Fibers, which is where I recently got my e-will from, I got this Cordale nylon blend. There's fiber content. And yeah, so that'll be socks. And then this is my favorite one. Look how pretty this is. This is called Beach Day. This is going to be my next spin, and this is from Little Barn Studio. This is also a merino nylon top, 80-20, superwash merino and nylon. But yeah, that is so pretty. And then finally, I have never spun from a bat, let alone an art bat. These caught my eye. So this is a blend of superwash, superfine merino, recycled natural fibers, silk threads, and sari silk layered throughout the batch. So there's 55 to 60 grams, and this is from Simply Fiber by Nicole. I debated getting 2 because I'm not sure how far one will take me. But since I've never spun this type before, I was kind of reluctant to spend too much on it in case I don't like it. I was showing it to Nancy, and she said she doesn't has not found a bat that she has liked to spin, and so that especially then gave me pause. So hopefully I do enjoy spinning it, or at the very least it's another experience for me to learn something and maybe learn if I like this or not. So yeah, that'll be another fun one to try, kind of in a low risk way. So yeah, that is my haul from Knit City, Vancouver. I believe it goes to Calgary next year, and then they're looking for a new venue for it for the year after. So I'm not sure where it will be held. But I hadn't gone for a while, so it was fun to go again. Oh, and I had some delicious mac and cheese for lunch. They had some food trucks outside, and both Steph and I had mac and cheese for lunch, and it was kind of overcast but not raining at that time, and it was piping hot. It was just, like the best comfort food. It was so good. Other than that, I've been back to curling. I think last episode I'd had one game, and so now I've had 3 games on Monday nights, and then I did spare on Tuesday. I do not intend to curl Tuesday mornings this year. And actually I hadn't even planned to go on the spare list until January. I just kind of want my fall to be a little bit slower because there's been so much going on this year. But then last year, at the end of the year, I had put down that I was either going to be returning as part of a team or sparing. And so they had put me on the spare list. So sure enough, I got a call right away, and it was fine. It was fine, except that I didn't know till I got there that they changed the time from 10 o'clock to 9:30 this year. So I left in plenty of time, ran into some traffic problems, had to turn around, go an alternate route. So I was already a bit later than I wanted to be when I got there, but I thought I still have like 10 minutes to, get my shoes on and get ready. No, I walk in and everybody's on the ice already. And so I had to quickly get going and get on there. So I felt a bit discombobulated to start, but I guess someone was sparing on the other team had the same problem. And so, no one told me. I had no reason to look because I wasn't planning on curling this year. And so, yeah, anyway, it worked out fine, and we did end up winning in the last end. So that was good, even though I did not play particularly well myself. We have got some new bookshelves up, started loading books onto them. So that's just another step to starting to make it feel more like home here. Unpacked. Oh, there's Cameron home from lunch. I'm just gonna tell him I'll be a minute, so 1 second. Anyway, as I was saying, it's just another step to making this place feel more like home. It's cool to be unpacking these boxes and see some familiar titles. So I have all of Cameron's books all done. I've got to get started on mine. We need to get a couple more actual shelves for the bookshelf. We got a couple of Billy bookcases, and I stole a couple shelves from my bookshelf to put Cameron's books out. So we do need to pick a couple more up. And then we also got another shelf, a different one for the office area. So yeah, it's just more things coming along. And then upcoming, our next big job is going to get done, and that's casings and baseboards. So we had to take a lot of them off when we did our flooring, and then the old ones are too short for the new height of for the height of the new flooring. So I got fiber again tickling me here. So we have a whole load of them arriving on Tuesday, and I'm going to paint them, give them all a coat or two to start, and then they're being starting to be installed the following week. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're just doing the whole downstairs and just the bathroom upstairs here because that one had new flooring put in. The upstairs all did, but the old baseboards went back on okay because of the height of the flooring worked out for up here. But we are eventually going to change them to all the new style. But for now, just to retain my sanity, we'll do downstairs, the upstairs bathroom, and then at a later date, we'll update the ones upstairs. But yeah, that'll feel good because it just looks so unfinished right now in our main areas. So that'll be a big change there. Monday here, Monday is Thanksgiving here in Canada, and so our family's coming for dinner on Sunday. Be our first family dinner since we moved in. I know it's gonna be a little more crowded than our old house, but I've got ideas of how we'll get the tables all arranged to accommodate everyone, and once dinner is over, we'll just take the extra table away and free up more space. But I am anxious for, to have everyone here all together, and we have the pool in the clubhouse, so put it out there if people want to go swimming first. They can do that too. So I suspect that the grandkids probably are going to be up for that, and probably my son-in-law too, just a guess. All right, that just leaves me with something good. Now, I used to be a big Toronto Blue Jays baseball fan. I used to watch all their games. This is way back in like the early to mid 90s, back when they actually won the World Series a couple of times. I was on the bandwagon before they got to that stage, but I was definitely a big fan through that era, and then just gradually got away from it. The games are frequent and they take a long time to watch, and I just kind of lost interest. But the Jays won their division this year, so they had a bye for the first round of the playoffs. And then they been playing the New York Yankees for the American League East Division, which they won last night. So that was pretty exciting. They had beat them for 2 games, lost their last game, and then won last night to take the series. So on Sunday, they're playing either Seattle Mariners or the Detroit Tigers to take the American League. So crossing fingers that works out. And actually, I'm really hoping Seattle wins their game tomorrow night to take the series, because Seattle's kind of the next closest team. We only have one Canadian team, so you got to pull for Toronto, but Seattle is not that far away from us, and so they're sort of my next favorite team. And it's interesting when the Jays play Seattle. We've been to a few games down in Seattle for them, and they're almost more like Toronto home games because you get a huge contingent of Canadians that go down and watch the game. So I think it'll be really cool if it was a Seattle Jays series. So that's what I'm hoping for, but it'll be fun regardless. And so go Jays. All right, that is it for this episode. I'm not sure when I'll be back because with lots of work next week with the painting, and then having people in here installing all the trim the following week. It might be a couple, 3 weeks before I see you again, but hopefully by then I will have my A Legacy pullover done, or close to being done. Hopefully I'll have moved on from this spinning and we'll be on to this spinning. And who knows what else I'll get up to. So I hope to see you again in a few weeks. Take care till then, and thanks for watching. Bye.